Page 105. Continue to use equations here. We're going to wrap up early next week. If you look on Canvas, lesson plans are on there. I think we have a test end of next week, but not much remaining here with only a couple lessons and one activity that we're going to do for 13. So if you look at the first problem here, a dilation with scale factor 2 sends A to B. Where is the center of dilation? So where did I start from if I extended A, the distance doubled and got to B? Well, hopefully by now you know that if I moved A to B, the center of dilation would have to be over here somewhere. Okay, and have to be obviously in a line. The question is, where is that? Now it's a scale factor of 2. So how far away should my new point be? Well, it should be the same distance. Because if this is a scale factor of 1, doubling it would take it to B. So two things you would have to look for in a line, and then you could measure to make it exact. We don't need to be that exact, but the distance should be pretty close to the same between both of those. Label it whatever you want. I labeled mine point P since it's a point. Okay, next page. Using what you know about similar triangles, find an equation for the line in the diagram. Okay, this is similar to what we did on that homework one you just got done doing. So draw a couple of triangles here. We know that they're going to have the same slope, right? They're on the same line. So if I'm going to find an equation, I'm going to deal with this one because that's where my x and y are. Okay, what is the length of this line? Well, it's y minus how tall is this point? What's the y coordinate of this point? How far away from the origin is it?
7.
It's 7 up, right? So that distance would be y minus 7. Again, we don't know where that's at yet because I don't know what y is. This one's going to be the same thing, except it's going to be x minus, x coordinate is again 7, so that's going to be x minus 7. Y minus 7 over x minus 7 equals my slope. Now I should be able to get my slope. Again, you have the option to count how far up and how far over to get to the next point. I can use my triangle as well. I know these points here, so I should be able to figure out the slope of that. What is this distance, this vertical distance on this triangle? 4. Could also do 7 minus 3, right? We talked about subtracting the y coordinates. So that's 4. How far is this? 2. Rise over run. 4 over 2 reduces to 2. So there's your equation. Again, you could use the formula we talked about. Got 4 over 2 that way as well. You could have counted. Hey, that looks like it's 2 up and 1 over. 2 up and 1 over. Slope of 2. Many different ways to get that. Question number 2. Kind of got ahead of ourselves. I guess, what's the slope? 2. Where does it appear in your equation? Right there. Is 9/11 on our line? How do you know? Wants to know why. What's that?
Is it even on the line?
911 is there. Maybe you can say, yeah, I can see it, right? I could see it on there. You could check the slope. Let's check it with 7, 7 and 9, 11 and just see if I get a slope of 2, right? I know 7, 7 is on the line. Let's check it. 11 minus 7 is 4. 9 minus 7 is 2. Of course, that reduces to 2. It's slope of 4 over 2, which is 2. Slope is the same. Do the same thing on the next one. I don't want to draw out this one. All right, I don't want to go all the way to 100 and 193. So let's use our equation. Let's subtract our y's. 193 minus 7, that's going to be 186. 100 minus 7 is 93. Does 186 divided by 93, is that 2? If it is, your answer is yes. If it's not, your answer is no. Yes, it certainly is. Same exact slope. Again, just using that equation we talked about at the beginning of the day. We're going to skip the Are You Ready today. Get right into number 3. Draw the dilation of triangle ABC with scale factor of 2. Why don't you see if you can do that? So we're starting from A, doubling this triangle. And then see if you can do number 2 as well. Scale factor of 2.5. Put them on the exact same drawing there. All right, hopefully you're close. Adam, how far is A away from B? It's 2, right? So if I double it, it needs to be 4, so that's my new dot. How about B to C? 1, so I gotta make it. So there is the answer for the first one. A does not move, that's your center. So that's a scale factor of 2. Scale factor of 2.5 from the original. So if I start at 2, what's 2.5 times 2? 2.5 times 2, you do have access to a calculator. 5? 2.5 double? How about 1 times 2.5? So that means this height needs to be 2.5. So just a little bigger. There is both of them. Question 3, where is C mapped with a scale factor of S? So now wants to know a little bit about where C is at. So I'm just going to mark what happened here. That is now at 4, 3. And here it is at 5 and 3.5. So what changed when I doubled the first one? What happened to the first number? So it went from 2 to 4. It doubled, right? And if I went from 2 to 5.5, or 5, 2 times 5.5, or 2 times 2.5 is how I got 5. So whatever the scale factor was is what's happening to the first coordinate. So I'm taking 2, which is my starting point of C, right? Started at 2, and I'm taking it times the scale factor. 2 times 2 because the scale factor was 2. 2 times 2.5 because the scale factor was 2.5. That tells me where the x coordinate is. Now what happens to the y? Scale factor was 2 and it went up 1. All right, it went from 2 to 3. Scale factor was 2.5 and it went up 0.5. So what's going on there? Okay, so it's starting at 2, going to 3. So it seems like it's just increasing by 1 more than what this is. Okay, so it starts at 2, add 1 to it, 3. Starts at 2, if I scale factor of 2.5, and went to 3.5. So whatever the scale factor is, add 1 to it. That one was a little more difficult to see. So let's use that to answer question 4. What is the scale factor if C ends up at 9 and 5.5? So it ends up over here. What is the scale factor? 9 comma 5.5. So what would S have to be? 2 times something gives me 9. Or something plus 1 gives me 5.5. It's the same answer. What's that? 2 times 8.5 would be more than 9. What's that? 4.5. Scale factor is 4.5. 2 times 4.5 is 9. And 4.5 plus 1 is 5.5. So you could use either equation there to help you out. Yeah, whatever you think it is, just try it before you write it down. It doesn't take long to check the formula. All right, take a peek at your homework then, starting on page 109. Okay, double check that the first one there is a select all, maybe circle that. Question number 3 is going to be similar to what we did today, and just 4 questions for the homework. So lesson 12, and that'll be due on Monday.